President Donald Trump's unexpected announcement in Saudi Arabia to lift all sanctions on Syria caught many by surprise, including officials in his administration. The decision aimed at helping Syria recover from its 13-year war. This left the State and Treasury Departments scrambling to understand how to unwind the sanctions, many of which have been in place for decades. There was no prior warning to these agencies, and they were unclear on which sanctions would be lifted and when. The lifting of sanctions has been a topic of debate in Washington, with concerns about Syria's ties to terrorist groups. Meanwhile, Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa welcomed US President Donald Trump's decision to lift sanctions on Syria, calling it a historic and courageous move that will ease the suffering and support of the country's recovery. Sharaa praised the decision as a foundation for regional stability and thanked Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Turkish President Erdogan for facilitating his landmark meeting with Trump in Riyadh. Let's take a listen in to the Syrian president.
وقد استجاب الرئيس ترامب مشكورا لهذا الحب فكان قرار رفع العقوبات قرارا تاريخيا شجاعا أزال به معاناة الشعب.
Meanwhile, Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan said he will meet with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Syrian Foreign Minister Assad al-Shibani following a NATO gathering to finalize the deal's implementation. He acknowledged the need for US congressional support, but emphasized Trump's strong commitment to lifting the sanctions swiftly to enable economic recovery and humanitarian access. Let's now move to South America, in Colombia, where President Gustavo Petro has suffered another setback in his push for labor reform. The Colombian Senate has rejected a proposed referendum on the issue by a narrow margin, 49 senators voting against and 47 in favor. Let's take a listen in to what an opposition lawmaker had to say.
Las amenazas de Gustavo Petro. Ya lo vencimos aquí en el Congreso y lo venceremos en la calle. La pesadilla de este gobierno se acaba en el 26. Haber hundido la consulta popular es una gran noticia para el país. Es salvar más de 700.000 millones para los colombianos, para la vivienda, para las medicinas, para la educación, para la alimentación. La consulta popular solo le servía a Gustavo Petro. Era una estafa, una emboscada, una gran trampa.
The referendum included 12 questions and was part of Petro's broader effort to strengthen workers' rights, including a standard 8-hour workday, higher pay on weekends and holidays, and mandatory social security contributions for delivery app drivers. Lawmakers had already rejected the reform bill earlier, making this the latest in a series of obstacles for the leftist leader. In response, Petro has called for nationwide demonstrations to defend his labor reforms. Let's take a listen in to his comments.
Pero no esperábamos un hecho tan dantesco como el del Senado de la República. Es que ni siquiera fueron capaces de ganar en la consulta popular a través del voto de senadores limpios. Tuvieron que hacer. Solicito al Cabildo Abierto de Bogotá, allá en el Consejo Distrital, en la plazoleta, si no los dejan entrar, que se reúnan las organizaciones a escala nacional.
US President Trump is speaking during his tour in Qatar. Let's cut across.
And so I hope you're going to come up with some nice inexpensive engine for a drone so that we don't have to spend so much. I asked one of the companies, I said, I want a lot of drones. And, you know, in the case of Iran, they make a good drone, and they make them for $35,000, $40,000. So I said to this company, I want to see it. They came in 2 weeks later with a drone that cost $41 million. I said, that's not what I'm talking about, $41 million. I'm talking about something for $35,000, $40,000 where you send thousands of them up. And that's a great way. And they're very good, too, and fast and deadly. Horrible, actually. When you look at what's happening with Russia and Ukraine, the drone is killing tremendous numbers of people. You hide behind a tree and the drone comes down and it circles you with fire. You don't have a chance. The tree comes down also, by the way. It's so intense. I mean, you see these trees being knocked down like they're being sawed down by a top-of-the-line timberman, like like, you know who? Sean Duffy. Do you know that Sean Duffy, the head of the Transportation Department, who's working right now on the airports and getting a system because Biden didn't do a thing for 4 years, and Pete Buttigieg was the head, and he goes bicycling to work. He takes a bicycle to work. Can you believe it? He's running the biggest air system in the world, and he takes a bicycle to work. And they say he's going to run for president. I don't see it. Who knows, right? But I don't see it. But when I look at what they've done, it's so horrible what they've done. And the work they did do, they wasted billions of dollars. They're trying to hook up air systems to copper, and they tried to hook up copper to glass, and the glass doesn't work with the copper. And they had 30,000 different contractors doing 30,000 jobs. And when they put it all together, they spent billions of dollars. It didn't even come close to working. And we're going to be giving out a brand new system. It's very important. We'll have the best system, and we think we know who that system is. But we have a lot of bidding. But we want one check. We want a unified system. We don't want to have 5,000 contractors in all different places. Some digging ditches and some not doing ditches because they want to go by satellite. Satellite seems to be the way to go. But so we're going to be giving that out pretty soon. But what people don't know about Sean, because I mentioned lumberjacks, that Sean. You probably didn't know this. That I'm not talking about this Sean. This Sean, no, not this is not. This is a different Sean. Sean Duffy, the head of transportation. He's a great Sean, though, I have to tell you. But Sean Duffy was the world champion for 5 years, climbing trees and down, up and down, world champion. So that's what you call a serious lumberjack, and he's doing a fantastic job too. A really respected guy and a terrific guy. And I mentioned the champion because when somebody's a champion, he's the world champion for a long time. He came down, when you come down those trees, coming down at a rapid, he said that started getting you back. You will often break your back. You miss a shot, and you're coming down a lot faster than the human body was meant to come down. But he's doing a fantastic job at transportation. But this has been a very historic trip. I watched some of the people talking about it, and even what I would perceive as enemies of ours, people that are not fair from the press, are saying it's been amazing. We've raised trillions of dollars in investments. There's never been anything like it. And just to finish, we have a country that now has, I think, Howard, we can say that at least $10 trillion of investment and potential investment. And if the past administration did $500 billion, it was like a lot. But we did it in 2 months because it's actually a little more than 3 months. But I always say the first month I had to get a little bit acclimated. So I didn't really do this the first. But when we started, so we've really been doing it, Susie, right, for 2 months. So in